Hello everyone, Manufacturer7 here, and I'm bringing you another commentary. So, User1Campbell requested that I do a commentary on his top 5 games I don't like but everyone else does. Now, even though this is a list based off not liking popular games, that's not my problem with this. I mean, yeah, these lists can be controversial at times, but Alex did an okay job with his, even in spite of a few questionable choices, such as putting through the least popular Zelda games at the #1 spot, and I thought Josh Scorcher did a pretty good job too. In the remake, not the original. But here's how you don't do it right. Without any further ado, let's begin the video. Even ignoring that Kindmaster watermark in the top right corner, which you might or might not have control over, there's still some problems with your intro. First off, the inconsistency between a few clips. Some are cropped correctly, others aren't. If you have the ability to censor words in the transitions like this, you should at least be able to crop the footage correctly, and if not, look for footage that is cropped correctly. Second off, while most of the clips you use are very fitting with the music you're using, that Shadow of the Colossus clip doesn't. You're playing exciting music in the background, yet this clip you use here is slow-paced and not meant to be exciting. At all.
For many people, our opinions are our opinions.
Oh great! Nothing says 2020 countdown like inconsistent audio balancing. Can you at least raise your voice volume a little bit? I mean, we can hear what you're saying, but it's still so much quieter than the rest of the video. This is especially bad since when we turn our volume up loud enough to hear you, that makes the number transitions too loud.
A few moments later.
Also, one game per franchise, and let's get started.
When you talk slow like that, you're talking like a more expressive Eeyore. Okay, so I asked Campbell why he talked slow like that, and he said it's because he's not very good at reading scripts. I guess that's fair, but if they're unnecessarily slow like this, the least you could do is re-record your lines.
You know we are starting with this list with a game from Ubisoft.
I'm sorry, I'm really confused by what you're trying to say there. We know you're starting with a game from Ubisoft? Or are you trying to say, you know it's a bad sign when we're starting with a game from Ubisoft? I haven't watched your other videos, but I don't need to in order to know that people who are watching this for the first time will be very confused by that line.
The Driver series is one of the more loved and underrated franchises. However, I don't think I'll be playing any more Driver games, cause Driver San Francisco really disappointed me.
Is that the only reason you don't want to play any more Driver games? Because of one game? I mean, you could argue that you just don't like the gameplay style of them, but to basically judge the whole series because of one game in it, that makes you look kinda biased. Now, I won't force you to play the other Driver games. As a matter of fact, I haven't played any of them. But if you want to make that claim, then at least watch some reviews of the other games and decide if they look and or sound interesting enough for you.
Soon after.
You know, you could have waited until your nephew was done using your headset, then record the entry. There's a reason why the phrase, a delayed project is eventually good but a rushed project is bad forever, is quoted to death nowadays. I'll admit, I'm really tired of hearing it, but my point still stands. Anyways, here's a spoiler alert from Red Dead Redemption. I'll give you some time to click away in time.
Yes, I don't like Red Dead Redemption. Shoot me like the FBI did to John Marston at the end of the game. Spoiler alert.
Saying spoiler alert after spoiling the plot twist is a really bad thing to do. Are you one of those people who thinks that because you don't like a game you have the right to spoil it for the people who want to play it? Because if that's the case, then no, that doesn't give you the right. Why do you think that it's funny? It's not. It just makes you come off as malicious. I deeply apologize if I offended you by saying that, but I just don't understand why all of these people think it's funny.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Let's hope Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't disappoint me. But let me say this. I will give this game another chance, but give me some time, okay?
Wait a minute! Did you just say you're considering giving this game another chance, yet you're still including it on the list before giving it said chance? That implies that you feel you did give it a fair chance and yet you're still putting it on the list. It further proves my point of how you shouldn't rush these kinds of projects. If you still don't know if you really hate the game or not, then either wait to decide then put it on the list, or don't put it on the list at all. For example, I didn't like the movie Coraline when it first came out, but I've been considering giving it another chance ever since, and since I started considering that, I never once said that I still hate that movie.
Later.
The game hasn't simply aged well, but that doesn't mean it's bad. The graphics were actually pretty decent first time, and I stopped playing after 5 minutes. I'm sorry, but 5 minutes with the camera is absolutely madness.
I thought your decision to put Red Dead Redemption on the list was crazy when you admitted you needed to give it another chance, but now you're actually saying you only gave this game 5 minutes to judge it before just tossing it aside? I understand someone not finishing a game before forming an opinion, but only 5 minutes? You're not even going to wait and see if you get the hang of the camera angle? I mean, I didn't like the way the camera worked when I first played Metroid Prime, but within a few hours, I got the hang of it. So how do you know the same thing won't happen to you here? Okay, we get the point. The next game on the list is Sonic CD. You don't have to play nearly 30 seconds of the intro with pretty much nothing else added to it in order to tell us that.
When I first played Sonic CD, I found it pretty mediocre at first. It wasn't really anything that interesting, but when I played it again, I kinda stopped liking this game because 1, I don't get why this game is popular, and 2, I don't see anything special about Sonic CD at all.
I guess I can't argue with you not finding anything special about it. I mean, it is a matter of how you see it, but using its praise as one of the 2 reasons you found it mediocre, true, that makes for a good candidate for the list, but that's not a good reason to call a game mediocre. It can drag down your opinion for a game, but it's not a fair reason to call the game mediocre.
One of the problems I have with this game is the non-linear level design. Instead of going straight, you take alternate paths which can cut your momentum. And non-linear level design that should never be implemented in a franchise based on speed. I'm looking at you, Sonic Symbol.
Because who needs elaboration on how that slows down your momentum? Let's just leave the audience to fill in the blanks for us. Also, you admitted to liking the Sonic Advance games when I asked if you like them. Well, they also have plenty of non-linear moments in them. So why does this game get on your bad side for this, but not those games?
The only linear level in Sonic CD is the first level, Palm Tree Panic, which has barely any non-linear alternate pathways to get to the goal.
I hate to repeat myself from some of my past commentaries, but stuttering like that can be edited out. It's not that hard to do. There's a reason splitting takes exists.
Later.
The music is very forgettable. The only ones I like the most are Palm Tree Panic, the final boss theme, results theme, and Sonic Boom.
The only ones I like the most? Don't you mean to say the only ones you like, or the only ones you don't think are very forgettable? I'm sorry for coming off as a grammar Nazi, but please think about the way you structure your sentences.
And both versions have Japanese and American versions, which makes it way worse.
Yeah, we still don't need elaboration as to why that's the case.
The only great moments in Sonic CD is the Metal Sonic fight and the intro sequence to this game. In the end, Sonic CD is a game I think is one of the best and one of the worst Sonic games ever made.
I could get on your case for that contradictory statement, but it was probably supposed to sound like that for dramatic effect, even if I personally don't agree with it. But if you think it's one of the best and worst, why did you barely list any positives to it? There has to be a reason you would think it's both the best and worst. Anyways, the number transition in this is also way too long, so I'll just skip to the number 1 entry.
Alas, number 1. Time for my death sentence. I love video games so much. It's a big cliche on my channel. And this game is one of the revolutionizers of gaming culture. From the early 1980s. It's made by inherently my favorite video game company, along with Sega. And I'm gonna sound like an idiot for a second.
Just get on with it!
I'm sorry, I really couldn't resist using that clip. Now it actually feels like you're trying to stall out the length of the video. Have you guys seen Mobro Studio's YouTube poop tutorial? In that video, he said that length does not determine the quality of a YouTube poop. Well, the same thing applies to pretty much any kind of video, including countdowns.
My number one is this.
Oh, finally! The suspense
I
was
have
killing.
been
Wait,
keeping
what's
this
going
a
on?
secret for-
I kid you not. This is literally 98 seconds of pointless build-up to the number one entry. That's literally over a minute and a half. Building up suspense to the number one entry is already very annoying if dragged out for too long, but I've literally never seen a countdown entry get stalled for this long, ever since the overly long build-up to Alex Rocha's number one entry on his list. At least when he did it, it had some good jokes and a nice apology to Ocarina of Time fans, even if it wasn't really needed. This is just pointless padding incarnate. Anyways, his number one entry is the original Donkey Kong for the arcade, and I think he makes a lot of good arguments with it. Heck, I even agree with him. I don't like the game all that much either. But there is one thing I'd like to address. This subtitle he put right here. He admitted that he's only played the demo version. He's judging the entire game by just the demo version of it. Now, the game's only 3 or 4 levels long, so that's more understandable than in his GoldenEye entry, but the demo version is still only 1 level in the game. So, final thoughts? While this countdown was relatively harmless, there's still some problems in it. Your inconsistent audio balancing, combined with how you seem really quick to judge games, and dragging out parts longer than they need to be in the second half really doesn't help the countdown. However, I will say this. You do have potential to be a good countdown maker if you just give games a little more time instead of judging them by the first level, and make sure certain parts don't go on for too long, and work on your audio balancing, then your countdowns will almost be guaranteed to improve. So, thank you for sticking with me throughout the commentary. This is Meta57 II, and I will see you later.